We will now expand our understanding of paint color mixing. This next exercise will use the colors cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and cerulean blue to mix the 12 colors that make up the color wheel. The color wheel is a diagram that maps the relationships between primary, secondary, and intermediate colors. You will be able to use this diagram as a reference point for future color mixing. To start, draw a large circle on a sheet of your canvas pad. You can use a template, such as the rim of a cereal bowl, or just carefully draw it by hand. Within the large circle, draw a second circle so that there is a continuous 2-inch band. This band is where the colors of the color wheel will go. Then, draw lines inside the band to separate it into 12 even units. The quickest way to do this is to first separate it into quarters, and then section each quarter into 3 individual units. Don't forget to count your units to make sure that they add up to 12. It's easier to correct this now before you start the painting. Next, you will label the units of your color wheel with their corresponding color name and the number position that relates to their primary, secondary, or intermediate status. It's important that these names and numbers are laid out in the correct order, or else the color wheel will look kind of weird. Now might be a good time to pause the video to take a closer look at the color names and their numerical designations. A reference version of this color wheel is also available on Blackboard. Now that your color wheel is labeled, let's begin filling it in. The best place to start is with your primary colors because you can use these straight out of the tube. Again, we're working with cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and cerulean blue as your 3 primaries. These colors are called primaries because they are the building blocks of additive color mixing and cannot be made by mixing together any other colors. Apply these directly to their corresponding units on the wheel, which are labeled with the number 1 to designate their primary status. Make sure to wash your brush thoroughly between each color so that you don't muddy the next one. You may want to work with multiple brushes for this reason that you can separate by color family. Next, we will mix the 3 secondary colors, green, orange, and violet. These are made by mixing any 2 primaries together. Green is made by mixing blue and yellow, orange by mixing red and yellow, and violet by mixing red and blue. The secondaries are designated by the number 2 on your color wheel and should be positioned equidistant between your primaries, with the space of a blank unit remaining on either side. These remaining units are left for the intermediate colors, also known as tertiary colors. The intermediates are the colors with the hyphenated names. They're essentially variations of the secondary colors, which lean more toward their neighboring primary color. For example, yellow-orange is a version of orange that's closer to the primary yellow, and red-orange is a version of orange that's closer to the primary red. Before you finish, take a look at your color wheel as a whole. The transitions should appear as incremental as possible. Are there any segments where secondary and intermediate colors are too similar to each other? How about places where they're too far apart? If you see any big leaps, now would be a good time to paint over certain colors to make the corrections. And here's my finished color wheel, all labeled and ready to go.